Hey guys, what's going on? BMcG here, and today we have my second rank 2 7-star, that is Silver Surfer. And if you guys have been following the channel for quite some time, you would know that Silver Surfer has been consistently ranked up on my channel, if that makes any sense. He was my third ever rank 3 6-star, so it's pretty cool that he's going to be one of my first ever rank 2 6-stars, and might even be one of my first ever rank 3 7-stars when that happens. But I'm not going to talk about that too much. We're going to start this little showcase here in Realm of Legends against Winter Soldier. I'm going to do the rotation that I use for the Battleground showcase, or Battlegrounds fights, I mean. So you start with a Fury buff, and the next buff you want to get is another Fury buff. So right here, drop another heavy attack. So now we got 2 Fury buffs. So now once the Power Cosmic buff comes back, we want to get one of these combat power rate buffs, and then launch that with our special 2. So right here, I don't know how I got hit there because I was phasing and then I got stunned here, but you want to dex into your special 2, you keep the precision up the whole time, and then the unblockable. So it's just some really nice stuff there. And now you could just go in, start hammering this dude. The next buff you want to trigger is the armor, so you go in here, heavy charge. I wanted to launch that into my special 2, but it's not a big deal. Right there, if you're fast enough with your special 2, you can dex and then hit them once and then immediately launch the special 2, and you'll launch the special 2 before the dex precision falls off, and that allows you to keep it paused for the duration of that whole special 2. So really solid stuff there in my opinion. That was 67 seconds for 550,000 health, I think, somewhere close to that. So really solid damage there. And then next up, we're going against Venom the Duck here in 6.4.1 to simulate a more accurate Battleground style health pool. So this guy's got like 200,000 health. So you start with the Fury buff for your first buff. The next one will be another Fury buff. And right there, I wanted to heavy charge and phase that last part of that special one, but I got hit. It's not a big deal. The next buff that we want to get is a combat power rate buff. So right here, heavy charge and then cancel with our special 2. If the first hit of our special 2 landed, I was just a little too far away, it would have killed him. So it would have been just slightly faster, but still 33 seconds for 200,000 health is pretty solid. It's going to be a really solid score in Battlegrounds. But next up, I want to highlight a certain interaction that Silver Surfer has. Each aptitude buff on him also increases the potency of his combat power rate buffs by 25%, which is pretty solid. But if you look at this Thor relic, every time you activate the Striker, it grants you an aptitude buff, which increases the potency of your Fury, Armor, and Precision buffs by almost 15%, but you gain that buff for 16 seconds. And if you know anything about Silver Surfer, that's just enough time to refresh the aptitude, Fury, and Armor that you get with the combat power rate buff. It's slightly tight in timing, but it's just enough time to actually do it. So to show you guys the full, how you can do this, I'm going against Abyss Iron Man because it's the only way I could really show you guys, stacking more than like 2 of these buffs, because you need a lot of health on an opponent to actually show this. But we start here. Sometimes I like starting with a combat power rate buff and then immediately go for a special 1 into the Furies. That gives you 2 Furies and you're pretty much fully ramped then in terms of damage. And then you can launch the special 3 for the aptitude to increase your buff potency even further, as well as give your combat power rate buffs even more potency. So right here, we are just going to try to build up to my special 3. I should have launched the relic right there, the Striker, I mean, and then get the buff there. Right there, I screwed up with which buff I wanted to get. I accidentally got another armor, which is fine, but we just need to be really close, or really careful here. We get the combat power rate with just like 1/10 of a second left. Launch the special 3. I could have played that a lot cleaner building to the special 3, because the special 3 gives you 1 of each buff, I believe. So yeah, kind of messed that one up. But yeah, now that we have all our buffs ready to go, we've got the extra aptitude from the special 3, we've got 2 Fury, 2 Armor, and then 2 aptitudes from these Striker relics. Now we could pretty much just keep refreshing them. So anytime that combat power rate buff falls off, we want to make sure that we refresh or get a new or refresh our old buffs with that buff when we get it again. So you know, that's some really solid damage right there. One thing a lot of people sleep on when it comes to Silver Surfer is his burst damage. His burst damage is really, really, really strong, and it scales with base attacks, so I'm pretty sure that weaknesses and stuff do not affect it. Armor rating and stuff will still, you know, gimp the damage just a little bit, make it a little bit weaker, but if someone has a bunch of weaknesses on me, it's not going to do anything. If there's inequity, not going to do anything. It'll affect my basic attack damage and my special attack damage, but not the burst damage itself, because that scales with base attack only, not modified attack. So that's some really underrated utility there that Silver Surfer has. Right there we refresh into the special 2. Each hit there does 17,500 burst damage, which is just really solid. And then all our basic attacks are dealing 5,000 burst damage. And then when he has no armors, it's closer to 7,000. So really solid stuff there. And right here we have 4 aptitude buffs, and look at how much, well 5 actually. Look at how much power we're gaining when we strike him with basic attacks. It's not an insane amount. I think the difference would be more noticeable on a SIG 200, because that the SIG increases your potency of all your buffs, and I think it would scale a bit better with a SIG 200. But yeah, now we're just cooking with gas here. It's really solid stuff. He's kind of a beast, and a lot of people kind of underrate him. I really enjoy using this guy. I love having him in my Battlegrounds deck because he can take so many fights. He's pretty flexible, and most stuff when I was using my 6-star rank 4, it was like a 45-second, 50-second fight, and you could do it with minimal health loss because you have the phase to prevent, you know, special damage if you can just phase the special attack. And his armors also make him tankier, although you're not really using the armors in Battlegrounds too much. It's still pretty solid. But at this point we lost all those aptitude buffs, and we're almost about to lose these, but we're able to get the refresh in with the heavy attack, and then launch the special 2. And now I start cutting out parts of this fight because the last 15% takes a while. If anyone's done any Iron Man solos and in Abyssal Legends, you know that the last 15% can take a while, even with proper counters. So I think it took like a minute and something seconds. But yeah, I just cut out all the annoying parts where I'm like dexing 3 specials in a row. We finished there with a nice heavy attack, and it was, I think, 5 minutes and 30 seconds for you know, 2.7 million health. So really solid stuff in my opinion. Next up we have Ronin, and this is in 7.2.3, Energy Adoption, Ice and Lightning. Silver Surfer is 100% resistant to Cold Snap, Shock, and Incinerate, and all these you know, debuffs, well yeah, they have to be debuffs. If they're effects like passives, he'll still take damage, but he's resistant to the debuffs, is what I'm trying to say. But all these debuffs count as buffs for his unique abilities, and it's pretty solid stuff here. You guys are going to see this special 2 just rip him to shreds once I launch it. I'm trying to get him to drop the special 1. He does, and we just go straight in with the special 2 here after we get this relic. Heavy charge with the armor, and boom. 31,000 burst damage per hit, which is just some really solid stuff. Next up, we're going on the same path. I just wanted to highlight their finishing blows. That was a lot of damage. It was like 200,000 damage in the last 20 seconds. But next up, we're just going against this beast. We're changing the rotation up just a little bit here. Gonna avoid the special 1 altogether and try to go for the special 2 instead. And it's gonna net some really solid damage. So we get another Fury buff here, and now we just we need to try to get to our, you know, we need to try to manage our power, so we're not going to our special 3 when we're trying to launch the special 2. But right there, just some really solid damage. We didn't have a ton of debuffs on us. Finished with the special 1. Just some really solid stuff there. Next up we have Carnage, and this is going to be a semi-fun fight because he gains physical resistance, and all of Silver Surfer's burst damage is physical, I believe. So it's not going to be the fastest fight, but it's still going to be pretty fast. And it's pretty funny how you could play Silver Surfer like super aggressively. And I can't remember why my Fury buffs are paused right now. It might be from the nodes. I just had like a brain fart. I forgot why they would possibly be paused, but then I remember the superiority node when you're facing the same class type. But yeah, that was still 31 seconds, so really solid stuff. Next up, can't remember this quest. I thought it was in Act 8, but there's Cracking the Armor, Defensive Transcendence, Inflated Ego, I can do this all day, and Heavy-Handed. So essentially when they hit your block, they gain an armor up buff. They cannot take damage while they're not benefiting from 3 buffs. So right here he gains 3 buffs, and we can now do damage. Anytime you try to inflict an armor break, there's like a % chance to reapply an armor up buff, so you're not losing your damage. Right here, we get hit by a special 2. Doesn't matter because that shock is just ramping our damage. But yeah, this node's pretty cool because when you're striking an armor broken defender, you gain a bunch of Fury passives, and then when you try to armor break, they gain more armor. So it's pretty cool. And then yeah, we're just gonna finish this fight out here. I wanted to try to just launch a special 1, but not a big deal. We just phased through that last part of that special 2 because I don't want to get hit again, and a 27k medium to finish it out. Granted, we have a bunch of attack rating from the node. Next up we have Storm Pyramid X, and this is a glancing fest, but the cool thing about Silver Surfer for Storm Pyramid X, which is why I kept this in here, is that you can activate his abilities without actually having them glance. So you would need to play him just a little bit differently, but the special attacks cannot glance first, so gaining your buffs that way is safe. If you dash back and heavy charge without hitting her, you can gain your buffs that way without them having a chance to be glanced, which is also really solid. The issue is when you start chaining heavies into combo, or yeah, you chain your heavy from your combo, and that's when you will start having stuff glance. But yeah, we got hit by that special 1 there. The Cold Snap is dealing damage because it is passive. And this is a semi-annoying fight because she just glances like everything. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. It's just that's how it goes sometimes. There's always going to be unideal or non-ideal fights that you have to take. Right there, we just dropped the special 2. I knew I was going to push her to her special 2. Luckily, I dexed that somehow. But yeah, if she had 1 more prowess, then she would have been unblockable, and that wouldn't have been good. But yeah, the shocks wouldn't have hurt us, but the prowess on that special 2 would have just made it so strong. So we're just trying to build back to our next special 2 because those can't glance, and I don't know what happened there. I thought my medium landed, it didn't, so we dropped a special 1 into her block, and yeah, finished the fight with the special 1. This was the longest fight in the video other than the Abyss Iron Man solo. So next up we have Green Goblin. This one's semi-long as well because this dude is he's a pain in the butt. He's got like 69 hits on his special 1, so he's going to gain a bunch of armor. And yeah, we don't have enough armor breaks to completely deal with them to keep him at like the 3 mark, which is where you kind of want to keep them balanced at. But you see there, he gained 4 from that special 1, and yeah, it's going to be a slower fight. He also has regen. I'm not sure how he works specifically, how he gets the regen. I know he's got to have like an orange and green icon, I just can't remember how much of each. But he's not regenerating there, maybe he has to have 2 of 1, I don't know. I just know he regenerates, and it's semi-annoying. And yeah, now we're just trying to whittle this dude down, and we get hit with a special 1 there. It places a weakness on us. Not a big deal because our burst damage that we have is, is subject to base attack, not modified attack, so that weakness doesn't do anything to the burst damage. So we're just trying to get to our special 2 here, But this dude is reducing our combat power rate, so even with these buffs that we have to increase our combat power rate, he's still slowing us down quite a bit. He's a really annoying defender. Drop the special 2 here. Really solid burst damage. I hate this guy's special 2 with a passion. It always clips me if I don't block the first part. But yeah, right here I actually do refresh that relic aptitude. I didn't think I was going to be able to get it, but I was quick enough. Right there, I don't know what the hell happened. I thought I was going to be able to land that light intercept, and my light attack looked like it hit him, but it didn't. And this fight was pretty slow, so I wanted to include one more that was kind of fast. And this is against Stealth Suit Spider-Man, so just gonna take a bunch of combos to the block, get that evade off of his get the passive evade off by trying to strike him, drop the special 1, and now we're gonna start dealing a bunch of damage. So we push him to a special 2 because that's easier to deal with. If you know how to dex it, you don't have to deal with him gaining more evade charges. That's like one of the most annoying things about him are the evade charges. We drop the special 1 to gain 2 armor ups, and now we're pretty much fully ramped. Now we just need to try to hit into him to trigger that evade. We do. Now we're going to use the striker to push him to his special 2. We hit him a couple times with some light attacks. And now we just need him to drop this, go in there with a heavy attack. It doesn't land, but we have the phase, so we could just randomly throw heavies whenever we want. It's not a big deal. And the special 2 closes the fight out. So that was Silver Surfer. If you guys want to see more Silver Surfer content, let me know. But that will do it for today's video. Hit like if you liked it, and sub if you're new. If you already subbed, you know I love you. See you guys for the next video or stream. Peace out.